600 feet in the air, a 6-inch beam of steel, wind screaming at 40 miles per hour. One hand grips a hose blasting water at 40,000 psi, enough pressure to cut through bone. The other hand, clinging to a cable for dear life. This is bridge painting, and it's one of the deadliest jobs in America. Today we're going high above the city streets, exploring the world of bridge painters, the fearless crews who risk it all hundreds of feet in the air, the industrial techniques and machines they use to strip rust and protect steel, and the life or death skills it takes to maintain some of the most iconic bridges in the United States. By the end of this video, you'll never see bridges, or the people who keep them standing, the same way again. Before we dive in, make sure you hit subscribe, because the world we're about to climb into is just the tip of the danger, skill, and precision these painters face every single day. You don't want to miss what comes next. Most people drive over bridges every single day without giving them a second thought. You're probably thinking, yeah, so what? It's just a bridge. But here's what nobody tells you. Those massive steel structures keeping you from plunging into rivers? They're dying, slowly rusting away, corroding, crumbling. And there's a group of people literally risking their lives every single day to keep them standing. They're called bridge painters, and what they do is absolutely insane. Let's talk numbers for a second. The George Washington Bridge, one of the most iconic bridges in America, has 9 million square feet of paintable steel. 9 million. That's not a typo. To put that in perspective, that's roughly equivalent to covering 156 football fields. And it takes a full crew about a year and a half just to repaint the entire thing. But here's the kicker. By the time they finish painting it, they have to start all over again. It's never ending. The moment you finish one section, another part's already starting to rust. It's like painting the Golden Gate Bridge, except nobody's romanticizing your work with Instagram photos. And we're not just talking about the George Washington Bridge. There's the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, the bridges spanning the Delaware River, suspension bridges, cable-stayed bridges, arch bridges. Every single one of them needs constant maintenance or they'll collapse. Not in 100 years, way sooner than you think. Steel doesn't care about your commute. It rusts, it corrodes, it fails, and when it fails, people die. That's where bridge painters come in. They're not just slapping some color on metal for aesthetics. They're the last line of defense between functional infrastructure and catastrophic failure. These guys are dealing with rust, lead paint, saltwater corrosion, environmental pollutants, and weather conditions that would make most people quit their job on day one. And they're doing it hundreds of feet in the air, with nothing but a harness between them and certain death. Now let me paint you a picture of what a typical day looks like for these guys. You wake up at 5 in the morning. You put on a full-body harness, chest protectors, leg guards, a helmet, gloves, and something called a TX suit, which is basically a hazmat suit designed to protect you from toxic chemicals and lead paint. You're already sweating before you even start climbing. Then you grab your gear. And we're talking industrial-grade equipment here. Ultra-high pressure water jetting machines that blast water at 40,000 psi. That's strong enough to cut through your hand if you're not careful. Air compressors, steel grit recycling systems, sand blasters, heavy hoses. And you're carrying all this stuff up narrow ladders and across beams that are 6 inches wide. 6 inches. That's the width of your average smartphone. Now imagine walking across that while carrying a 40-pound hose, with wind gusts hitting you from every direction. 600 feet above the ground, no safety net below you, just open air. And below that, either freezing cold water or cars flying by at 70 miles per hour. Oh, and did I mention you're supposed to focus on doing precision work while all this is happening? Because that's the job. You can't just slap paint on and call it a day. You have to prepare the surface, remove rust, apply primer, then epoxy, then finishing coats. Every layer has to be perfect or the whole thing fails. Let's talk about the height for a second, because this is where most people would immediately nope out. These guys are working at elevations that would make a skydiver nervous. The Golden Gate Bridge towers are over 700 feet tall. That's taller than a 60-story building. And bridge painters don't just work on the deck, the part you drive on. They work on the cables, the towers, the suspension systems, the underside of the bridge where nobody can see them, but where all the critical structural work happens. They're climbing steel frameworks, walking on beams, straddling girders, and hanging off cables with nothing but a harness keeping them from falling to their death. And falling? That's not even the only way to die on this job. You've got exposure to lead paint, which, by the way, was used on pretty much every bridge built before the 1980s. Lead poisoning can cause brain damage, kidney failure, and death. You've got chemical coatings that can burn your skin or mess up your lungs if you breathe them in. You've got high-velocity debris from sandblasting that can blind you or slice you open. You've got contaminated water from pressure washing that needs to be contained, or it'll pollute entire rivers. And then there's the weather. Bridge painters work year-round. That means they're out there in the middle of winter when it's freezing cold and the steel is covered in ice. They're out there in the summer when the metal's so hot it'll burn your skin if you touch it. They're out there during storms, during high winds, during hurricanes. Yeah, hurricanes. Because bridges don't stop needing maintenance just because the weather sucks. And if a storm's coming and you're halfway through a job, you can't just leave your equipment hanging there. You have to secure everything, climb down, and hope the wind doesn't rip your containment systems apart. Speaking of containment systems, let's talk about what that actually means. When you're sandblasting or water jetting a bridge, you're creating a massive cloud of dust, rust particles, lead paint chips, and contaminated water. If that stuff gets into the environment, you're looking at serious pollution. Rivers get contaminated, fish die, people get sick. So, bridge painters have to set up these elaborate containment areas with platforms, fencing, cables, and tarps to catch every single particle. It's like building a temporary building around a section of the bridge just so you can clean it without poisoning everything around you. And once you're done, you have to dismantle the whole thing and move on to the next section. Now here's where it gets really insane. Not everyone can be a bridge painter. You can't just show up and say, "Yeah, I'll give it a shot." There's a rigorous testing process that weeds out most candidates before they even start training. First, there's a written exam to make sure you understand the basics of structural steel, corrosion, coatings, and safety protocols. Then comes the height tolerance test. And this is where things get brutal. They take you up onto a bridge or a training structure that replicates real working conditions. You have to walk across narrow beams, climb steel ladders that seem to go on forever, straddle girders with nothing but air on both sides, crawl over beams, hang from cables, all of this while wearing full safety gear and a harness. And here's the thing, your brain is screaming at you the entire time. Every instinct you have is telling you to get down, to grab onto something, to freeze, but you can't. You have to keep moving. You have to stay calm. You have to prove that you can function normally at heights that would make most people pass out from fear. Most people fail. They either freeze up, get dizzy, or realize halfway through that they can't handle it. And that's fine. This job isn't for everyone. But the ones who pass, they're a different breed. They have balance, coordination, and nerve control that most people can't even imagine. They can walk across a 6-inch beam like it's a sidewalk. They can tie advanced knots, eye splices, scaffold hitches, double sheet bends, while hanging off a cable 600 feet in the air. They can operate industrial machinery, handle high-pressure hoses, and apply precise coatings while the wind is trying to knock them off the bridge. And once you pass the tests and finish training, the real work begins. Bridge painters work in crews, and every crew has a specific workflow. First, there's surface preparation. This is where you're removing old paint, rust, and corrosion. You're using pressure washers that shoot water at 40,000 psi. You're sandblasting with steel grit that's recycled and reused to save costs. You're scraping, grinding, cleaning. Every square inch of steel has to be prepped before you can even think about painting. Then comes the coating application. And this isn't just one layer of paint. You're applying primer first to help the paint stick to the steel. Then you're applying epoxy coatings for corrosion resistance. Then you're applying finishing coats for protection against UV rays, salt water, and pollution. Each layer has to dry properly before you can apply the next one. And if the weather changes, if it rains or gets too humid, you have to stop and wait. Because if you apply paint in the wrong conditions, it won't adhere properly and the whole thing fails. Throughout this entire process, there are inspections. Multiple stages of quality control to make sure everything's being done correctly. Inspectors check the surface preparation before painting starts. They check the coating thickness during application. They check for proper coverage, adhesion, and protection after the paint dries. If anything's wrong, you have to redo it, and if you mess up too many times, you're off the crew. But let's get back to the risks for a second, because I don't think people fully understand just how dangerous this job is. Every single day, bridge painters are working in conditions that would be illegal in most other professions. They're exposed to toxic chemicals. They're working at extreme heights with minimal safety margins. They're using equipment that can kill them instantly if they make a mistake. They're dealing with weather conditions that can change in seconds. And they're doing all of this while traffic is still running on the bridge below them. Imagine trying to focus on precision work while cars are flying by underneath you at 70 miles per hour. The noise alone is deafening. The vibrations from the traffic shake the entire structure. And if something goes wrong, if your equipment fails, if your harness snaps, if you lose your grip, there's no second chance. You're falling 600 feet. And at that height, it doesn't matter if you land in water or on concrete. You're not surviving. But here's the thing that nobody talks about. These guys know the risks. They know what they're signing up for. And they do it anyway, because someone has to. Because if they don't, the bridges fail. And when bridges fail, people die. Entire cities can be cut off. Supply chains collapse. Emergency vehicles can't get through. Millions of commuters are stranded. The economic impact alone is catastrophic. So, yeah, bridge painters are literally holding up civilization. Every time you drive over a bridge, whether it's the Golden Gate, the George Washington, or some random overpass on your way to work, you're trusting that someone did their job correctly, that someone climbed up there, faced their fears, and painted that steel so it wouldn't rust and collapse. And most people will never know their names. They'll never see them working. They'll never thank them. But these guys don't do it for recognition. They do it because they're masters of a highly specialized craft that takes years to learn. They do it because they have skills that most people don't even know exist. They do it because they can walk on a 6-inch beam 600 feet in the air without flinching. They do it because they know how to tie knots that can hold thousands of pounds. They know how to operate machinery that can cut through steel. They know how to read the weather, assess structural damage, and apply coatings that will last for decades. And the truth is, this job isn't going anywhere. As long as we have bridges, and we're always going to have bridges, we're going to need people willing to climb up there and maintain them, because steel rusts, corrosion never stops, weather never stops. Bridges are constantly under attack from the elements, and without constant maintenance, they fall apart. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. That's why bridge painters work year-round. That's why crews are always on these bridges, moving from section to section, repainting, inspecting, repairing. The George Washington Bridge takes a year and a half to repaint, but by the time they finish, they have to start over. It's a never-ending cycle, a constant battle against entropy, and these guys are on the front lines every single day. Now, I want to circle back to the containment systems for a second, because this is actually a huge part of the job that most people don't know about. When you're working on a bridge, especially one that spans a river or a body of water, you can't just let debris fall into the environment. There are strict environmental regulations in place to prevent pollution. So before any work can start, crews have to build these massive containment structures around the work area. Picture this. You're building a temporary scaffold platform around a section of the bridge. Then you're installing cables, tarps, and fencing to catch every single particle of dust, rust, paint, and contaminated water. This isn't a quick process. It can take days or even weeks to set up a single containment area, and once it's up, you have to maintain it. You have to inspect it regularly to make sure nothing's tearing or breaking. Because if your containment fails and pollutants get into the water, you're looking at massive fines, environmental damage, and possibly criminal charges. And then, after all the work is done, you have to dismantle the entire thing. You have to remove the platforms, the cables, the tarps, the fencing. You have to haul all of it down, load it onto trucks, and move it to the next section. And then you start the whole process over again. It's exhausting, it's time-consuming, and it's absolutely necessary. But the environmental risks aren't the only concern. There's also the structural risk. Bridges are constantly under stress from traffic, weather, and their own weight. Steel beams can bend, cables can fray, bolts can loosen. And bridge painters are often the first ones to notice these problems because they're up there inspecting every inch of the structure. They're not just painters, they're also unofficial inspectors. They're trained to recognize signs of structural damage, corrosion, and wear. And when they spot something wrong, they report it immediately. Because a small crack today can become a catastrophic failure tomorrow. This is why the job requires so much technical knowledge. You can't just be good at painting. You have to understand how steel behaves under stress. You have to know how corrosion works. You have to understand coating adhesion, chemical reactions, and environmental factors. You have to be able to read blueprints and structural diagrams. You have to know which rivets and bolts are critical and which ones are just holding panels in place. You have to understand how suspension cables work, how tension is distributed, and what happens when one component fails. And on top of all that technical knowledge, you still have to have the physical ability to do the job. You need balance, you need coordination, you need upper body strength to handle the equipment. You need endurance to work 10-hour shifts at extreme heights. You need fine motor skills to apply coatings precisely. You need situational awareness to avoid hazards. And you need mental toughness to push through fear, exhaustion, and discomfort. It's honestly one of the most demanding jobs in existence. You're combining the physical demands of construction work with the technical knowledge of engineering and the mental toughness of extreme sports. And you're doing it in conditions that would make most people quit on day one. High winds, freezing cold, scorching heat, rain, ice, dust, noise, vibrations, traffic, heights, toxic chemicals, heavy equipment, the list goes on. And yet, despite all of this, bridge painters keep showing up. They keep climbing. They keep painting because they know what's at stake. They know that if they don't do their job, the bridges fail. And when bridges fail, people die. It's that simple. So, the next time you're driving over a bridge, any bridge, take a second to think about the people who made that possible. The ones who climbed hundreds of feet into the air. The ones who faced their fears and did precision work in impossible conditions. The ones who spent months or even years repainting millions of square feet of steel just so you could get to work safely. They're not looking for recognition. They're not expecting a thank you. But they deserve both. Because bridge painters are protecting critical infrastructure that serves millions of people every single year. They're ensuring the longevity and safety of structures that are essential to modern civilization. And they're doing it with a level of skill, courage, and dedication that most people can't even comprehend. It's one of the most dangerous jobs in America, one of the most difficult, one of the most important, and one of the most invisible. But now you know. Now you know what it takes to paint a bridge. Now you know what these guys go through every single day just to keep you safe. And maybe, just maybe, you'll think twice before complaining about your job. Because unless you're doing it 600 feet in the air on a 6-inch beam with a 40,000 PSI hose in your hands, you've got it pretty easy. There's a reason only a small fraction of people who try out for this job actually make it. There's a reason the training is so intense. There's a reason the pay reflects the danger. This isn't a job you can fake. You either have what it takes or you don't. And the ones who make it, they're some of the toughest, most skilled workers in the country. They're the invisible heroes keeping our bridges standing. And that's worth remembering. If you want to see what other insane jobs people do that you've never heard of, check out the next video.